Welcome to the Advanced Swimming Performance Podcast sponsored by Commit Swimming, the smartest workout log. Just type a set and Commit instantly calculates the data for you. To learn more, visit commitswimming.com. John and I highly recommend it. How are you, John?
Oh, I'm doing well, but I've got quite a dilemma going on here.
What's that?
So with the fitness area, the PT, we have a lot of pens flying around. People take pens from other desks and things like that. But me, I'm very particular to one pen. Okay, this is a pen that I have had on my desk for a few years now. It's the Adobe pen when I was consulting with them. But like I said, I've come across a dilemma. This company sent me a pen with my name on it, our business address,
nice.
and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a nice looking pen. So now I'm slowed down because I sit here and now I have two pens, and when I'm writing notes, drawing horrible pictures of exercises for patients to do, things like that, I'm like, oh geez, I'm getting dumbfounded by which pen to go forward with. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I need to stick with Old Faithful, give something new a try. It's really been.
Can I tell you that I share your pen loyalty?
Okay, yeah. You have a favorite pen?
I exclusively write with one pen.
Wow, you heard it.
That
Not
is
just favorites. It is.
That is a refillable, wait for it, fountain pen.
Oh, nice, nice. How is that?
I do. I love it.
I've looked into those things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've had one pen I think I've had it for about 5 years now. And if I'm not writing with that pen, if I'm like truly just, jotting notes or coming up with new ideas for aqueous, things like that, I have color pens.
Okay.
They have to be bright rainbow colored. I will not use dull rainbow colored. And they have to have a felt tip.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, I've had a few interns that are like color crazy, and then PT school, we definitely had some crazy color note takers, things like that. I was never as loyal to pens back then, but I just was kept losing pens on my desk, or people snagged them. So I'm like, all right, I need to have a serious pen that no one messes with, obviously.
I feel like it's kind of a coming of age thing.
Yeah,
you get a pen.
It is. Yeah. Everyone, I guess maybe we don't write as much, so we can be a little bit more, picky about which pens we use.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never got the whole rainbow thing. I look at those sheets, like people write. I'm like, that's pretty.
You're a
boy.
It's
somewhat giving me a aneurysm. But yeah, I am. I do contain a certain set of chromosomes that may not make me, able to appreciate that as much.
Yeah, this is the longest tangent we've had, but I think I have a little bit of a color memory.
Oh, okay.
I'll remember I'll remember if it's in bright blue or dark blue or red, something like that.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I totally, I feel you with the pen thing. That's hard if you have a competing pen.
Oh yeah, it's really going to keep me up at night, to be honest with you. These are the things that do it to me.
Yeah, well, we didn't even plan it this way, but I guess it is a pretty convenient segue. We're talking thermography today.
Exactly, and a lot of people are familiar with EMGs or electromyography readings, where you're taking recordings of muscles, and there's different ways to do that. So I'll just give a little background on that, because many people group EMG into one thing. There is surface, and then there's fine wire. Surface, you're more or less placing something on the muscle group, trying to get a reading there, versus fine wire, which is more or less a needle going into an area. There's pros and cons to both of them. Those that do fine wire really, I think, kind of put their nose in the air at the surface EMG people, feeling that there's a lot of crosstalk, that it's not really accurate readings. Whereas the fine wire is certainly more invasive, certainly harder to do. But nonetheless, in the world of swimming, we don't have a ton of research on this. There's been some older studies by a few USC people in their PT program, in their human movement lab, in the 70s, when they were looking at EMG in swimmers, and really there hasn't been a whole lot else since then, which is really kind of blows my mind. So, that's why we wanted to talk about maybe some other avenues for it, and one of those is thermography. So why don't you tell us about thermography, and maybe some of the pretty colors that are presented on it, since you have such a memory for these
Oh,
photos.
I walked right into that one.
Did
So, yeah, so today with thermography, the end goal of this discussion is really to bring awareness to it, right? To explore some questions that we can potentially put out into the sports science, sports medicine universe and see if we can get all of the right minds thinking in the right direction and get us some answers. So, yeah, much like you said, one of the struggles that we continue to have is getting those signals through the water, and that's really a big issue with EMG. Is
Mhm.
how do we break through that environmental barrier? And ultimately, I was talking with some engineers a few years back, and they're saying, okay, we don't have an answer for this. So that led me down the rabbit hole of Google Scholar and some other professional journals and everything, and I stumbled onto thermography. So
Mhm.
ultimately, thermography displays heat energy radiation. So we are taking a look at the energy that the muscles are basically exuding through heat, and we can see that in terms of temperature changes. That's really what we're looking for, what we're looking at. So anytime that we are utilizing it, we can see, quote unquote, hot areas, which would have a lot of energy radiation. We could have cooler areas, so not as much energy is being expended in those areas.
Mhm.
And I thought that, always trying to, kind of push through some of the research and kind of think with a little bit more clinical creativity, how can we make this accessible to the swimming community? So I think there are still some challenges with it. And again, it goes back to the environmental factor. The fact that within swimming or really any aquatic sport, you are expending a lot of energy. The body is producing a lot of heat, and yet we're in hopefully a cool environment. So the water is kind of absorbing some of that heat. So one of the challenges is that it could kind of obscure the results. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I think it is an open opportunity for us to kind of manipulate those variables a little bit and find ways to be able to look at muscular activity quickly after some of the training has occurred. And one of the pieces of research took a look at drying time of the skin and how that actually can either positively or negatively affect readings. And one of the things that they found was that the tricep was highly, what we're calling quote unquote hot. A lot of energy expenditure was happening at the tricep, particularly with a male breaststroker. And yet we were starting to see some cooling areas in the rhomboid mid-trap latissimus dorsi area. So on one end, really cool that we were able to gather that information
Mhm.
and potentially use it to help us understand the human body more. On the other hand, also really cool from, more of the practitioner side of me, that's saying, okay, can we actually identify some biomechanical errors in addition to this thermography reading? And can we use that all as a really great learning opportunity for the athlete? And I think that's really the exciting challenge that we can present to the industry with this tool is, can we use it as a really great learning opportunity for the athletes if we can get it validated and reliable?
No, I couldn't agree more. I think, anything that can help us understand the sport of swimming will only help out. Because we really don't know much about biomechanics, really what's happening in the water, especially when it comes to muscle, activity. So anything that's going to make it easier for coaches to gather this information, for us to learn about biomechanical flaws for injury prevention, for rehabilitation, for performance, really, I really think is a big breakaway. I think the two big areas for breakaways are, instantaneous feedback, which I'm
Yep.
working on a project to try and make it a little easier. And there's systems out there like telemetry that we talked about in the past, but it's still cumbersome, it's still expensive,
Yep.
stuff that isn't used often. And then the next one is just actually real-time feedback of muscle activity, or at least improvement in it. Because in the tech world, there's starting to be garments that can tell you activity right away. But we're still way behind that in the pool, even knowing what are the common muscles that are involved, being able
Sure.
to analyze which ones are involved. So if this can help give us information if something's overworking or working longer than it should, if it's the tricep, say it's supposed to be relatively relaxed on the recovery phase and it's, firing all the way into the mid recovery, maybe it's, just fatiguing early because it's active the whole time. So it just can't maintain that constant stress there. So I think these technologies and practices are big, and one that our good friends at Commit Swimming are probably keeping an eye out for.
What a good cue in. As we all know, it's important to track workouts if you want to improve your training. The most effective way is to track your workouts by using Commit Swimming. Once you write a workout with Commit, you'll never need paper, pencil, Excel, or anything else. Not only does Commit understand swimming lingo, but it also puts together personalized graphs of your training history and makes it easy to share workouts with others. You can access the application on any computer, phone, or tablet, so go on commitswimming.com to try it out. Yeah, I love again, I think we're in a discussion of potential and opportunity within the field of thermography. And I think, we just have so much to learn in terms of hydrodynamics, and our friends that are physicists and our friends that are, engineers and all of that aspect of the field about how we can actually work with the water as opposed to against the water, both with the body as well as the technology. And I think that this is a topic that's really interesting to me, probably because my affinity for colors. And I think I think it is easier to track and have it be a really good visual learning opportunity, because, when I'm working with some of our younger athletes and, the coaches, or definitely the clinical staff that are interested and passionate about learning more about anatomy itself, we've all struggled through a service anatomy class once or twice in our career. It's hard, right, to understand where one muscle starts and where it ends and what are you talking about and what region are we really in. And I think thermography has a wonderful flexibility to it to help us bring awareness to certain actual muscles and when they're firing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, it's just figuring out how this is going to be more accessible for coaches. And if not coaches, at least at these elite training centers, will be that next step. And I really am curious to see if this is going to actually bridge that, if EMG is going to finally, have some progress and ease of use, or if it's something else. I mean, I think with swimming, there's so many variables ranging from heat to wave speed to maybe aquatic noise, or acoustics of it all. There is a lot of potential on how to be able to take this energy that's obviously being dissipated, and with the water we can take the waves and take all the surrounding materials to maybe give us some more insights into swimming biomechanics and flaws. But I'm just not sure which one of these is going to take off, or if any of them are going to add more, if it's going to stay at where it is with some underwater video recording, which is getting a little bit better, a little easier to access with the phones and cases and things like that. That in combination of just coaches and their eyes and things like that.
Yeah, so hopefully this brought some people's awareness and or attention to it, and brought a little bit of awareness to it. Certainly, if anyone has more information on it or an interest in talking about it further, please feel free to reach out to John or I, because I think you never know what's going to be a really great opportunity to enhance the field, and this might be it. But time will tell.
You got it. You got it. All right. Thanks, Jenny. Enjoy your colors.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.